The coalition of political parties in Benue State and the Inter-Party Advisory Council (IPAC) in the state has raised alarm over authoritarian rule and anti-democratic policies of the Governor of Benue State, Reverend Father Alia. The group, while releasing its one-year assessment report on the administration of Governor Alia in Abuja on Thursday, also described it as the worst since the return of democracy in 1999. The party were Accord Party, APGA, Zenith Labour Party, Boot, APM, NRM, APP, ADC, as well as the NNPP. Tor Aondofa Paul of the National Rescue Movement, Simon Ogbe of the Zenith Labour Party, and Bishop Benson Ijachi of the Accord Party, who addressed the media, said the governor has failed in security, transparency, and accountability of the state. They further lamented that the administration has become synonymous with corruption, disregard for the rule of law, unfulfilled promises, abuse of office, as well as thuggery.
Father Hyacinth Alia has reintroduced thuggery in the state under the guise of Benue State Central Youth. A good number of the so-called Central Youth are reputed for criminality and thuggery in some parts of the state, particularly the Kwande local government areas. The Central Youth has become mobile court that judge case, dishing out punishment to people and awarding fines. They are the same youth that are using to prevent members of the APC not loyal to the Governor Alia from accessing their legitimate and constitutionally recognized secretariat in Makurdi. They use to threaten, criticize, an opponent of the government. Over a month ago, the member representing Ado Ogbadibo Okpoku Federal Constituency, Honorable Chief Philip Agbesi, was attacked by thugs during a constituency event in Egumale. In Agbesi's case, he was lucky that the thugs were arrested by men of the Operation Weststroke. They were arraigned in court and remanded. Up to now, Governor Alia has not said a word to condemn the attack on Chief Philip Agbesi.
And we call on the President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to beam his searchlight on Benue State of the affairs of Benue State and intervene to curtail the executive rascality, corruption, abuse of the fundamental human rights of Benue citizens, total disregard of the rule of law, and all the anti-democratic tendencies of the Alia-led administration. Mr. President should in no time be deceived that Benue State is being led and ruled under the watch of a priest, for his conduct does not exemplify Christ, as he is rather inviting anarchy and war in Benue State. We invite the international community and lovers of democracy to take note of the developments in Benue State, for the governor is bent on turning Benue into an obsession state of nature, where life is short and brutish. We are all witnesses to the governor's total disregard for the rule of law. Less than 4 weeks in office, the governor sacked and replaced democratically elected local government council chairmen and councillors in the state with a caretaker committee, despite a judgment by the National Industrial Court restraining him from doing so. Governor then went further to approach a court of coordinate jurisdiction, Benue State High Court, seeking to set aside the judgment of the National Industrial Court, Makurdi Division, which restrained him from sacking the 23 elected local government chairmen and councillors. In a sound judgment, the Chief Judge of Benue State, Justice Maurice Ikpambese, refused to grant the application seeking to review the judgment of the National Industrial Court because the issues of jurisdiction was dealt with by the Industrial Court. Hence, he is incompetent to review the judgment. Despite these two sound rulings, Governor Alia still refused to reinstate the illegally sacked council chairman. Governor Alia also sacked civil servants who were legitimately employed by his predecessor.
On corruption, transparency, and accountability. The statement presented also stated that Governor Alia's administration is notorious for total disregard for due process and the rule of law. The group also alleged that shortly after Governor Alias assumed office, the governor, without consulting an executive council, awarded a contract to the tune of 6 billion, an amount which is 120 times higher than the approved limit of the governor as at the time the contract was awarded. Most of these contracts were neither approved by the previous Benue State Executive Council nor captured in the 2023 budget. The group therefore called on President Bola Tinubu to beam his searchlight on the state of affairs of Benue State and intervene to curtail the executive rascality, corruption, abuse of fundamental rights of Benue citizens, total disregard to the rule of law, and all anti-democratic tendencies of the governor in the state.
Just a few weeks ago precisely, on the 9th of April 2024, not fewer than 15 innocent Benue people killed by Fulani herdsmen were buried in mass graves in Wando. The security situation in Benue State today is worsened by the silence of the governor and absence of condemnation of most attacks. Corruption, disregard for due process and rule of law. The Alia administration is notorious for total disregard for due process and the rule of law. Shortly after Governor Alia assumed office, the governor, without constituting an executive council, awarded a contract to the tune of 6 billion naira, an amount which is 120 times higher than the approval limit of the governor at the time the contract was awarded. Most of these contracts were neither approved by the previous Benue State Executive Council nor captured in the 2023 appropriation bill.